All right, we have a lot of news for you. We have some big injuries to talk about. Jamie will be on shortly. Yesterday was his birthday, and I totally forgot, so we're going to surprise him with some birthday stuff. But let's get to the big news and then the big winners and the big losers. And Jayden Daniels left with injured ribs, but it's not expected to be a long-term injury. Really want him back next week against Caleb Williams, Washington at home against Chicago. Aiden O'Connell reportedly has a broken thumb, so we know what the offense looks like with Gardner Minshew. And honestly, Jacoby Myers, if he's available on your waiver wire, hopefully he's back soon. He could be pretty good because right now it's just the Brock Bowers and a little bit of Alexander Madison show. But then, of course, Deshaun Watson left with an Achilles injury, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson also got hurt. So what do you guys make of this? Are we expecting a big boost, at least for Njoku, who had a huge game today? Dave, you can start with your thoughts on Cleveland.
He might be among the biggest winners of the week. Just the fact that David Njoku in PPR tied or outscored all but 3 quarterbacks.
Wow.
Week 7. That's through the 4:00 game. Here are his numbers. This is just with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. 19 routes run, 7 targets, 5 catches, 41 yards. It's a 37% target per route run rate. That's really good. I don't think he's been anywhere near that number with Deshaun Watson ever. And then he gets hurt. Jameis Winston comes in, 10 routes, 3 targets, 2 catches, 12 yards, a touchdown, 30% target per route run rate. We know Amari Cooper is not coming back. We know Deshaun Watson probably not coming back. David Njoku set up to be the number 1 target for Cleveland again, and someone who could be an absolute slam dunk must start at tight end. Man, we could use that.
Yeah, hey, Jamie.
Hey,
Jamie's here. And we were talking on FFT Express that you are much more optimistic if it's Jameis Winston and not Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
For the pass catchers, yes. For the offense as a whole, I think what Dave said about Njoku stands, regardless of who the starting quarterback is. David Njoku is going to be a top 4 tight end rest of season, maybe top 5. Whoa, you made that face.
All right, let's go. Ready?
Kittle, Bowers, McBride, Njoku.
Kelsey. I'm definitely going Kelsey over Njoku. And I would consider Ferguson. I think we're again putting a little bit too much stock in like one of the
in the second half of last year.
Right. Think back to that.
If Njoku had Joe Flacco coming into the season, he would have been drafted as a top 5 tight end.
Yes,
for sure.
I think I had in this.
But who's the starting quarterback for the Browns, though? That's the question.
6. Right. If it's Dorian,
not going to be Deshaun Watson, and that's good enough for me as far as this is concerned.
I don't know about DTR.
So you're that high on Njoku with DTR?
Did you just hear the numbers with him with DTR today?
Yeah, still, I don't know, man. It makes me a little nervous. I mean, he's must. It doesn't really matter because must start.
Right. He's must start guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's probably just semantics. Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. So then let's go to the rest of the injuries here. Brandon Aiyuk feared to have a torn ACL, just a total bummer. And Deebo Samuel barely played. He had an illness and obviously wasn't right, so he barely played. Purdy struggled. Did have 2 rushing touchdowns.
Who was the best wide receiver on the field by the end of the game?
Jacob Cowing.
Pearsall.
I mean, it was bad.
Ronnie Bell.
Jerry Rice on the sideline, because that would be the answer too.
Noah Gray.
Noah Gray led all receivers? No, not Kittle. Kittle led all receivers. Noah Gray led the Chiefs in receiving. So we'll talk about the 49ers.
If Tom Hanks came back from the island on Castaway and he saw that game and you said to him, this was the Super Bowl from the previous year, would he have agreed with you or thought you were lying?
He would have been, no, bad.
He probably would have shrugged his shoulders and then said, I don't want to play fantasy football this year. There's too many injuries.
I'm sure he just would have said, Wilson!
Probably. All right, DK Metcalf. Apparently, the knee injury is not serious. Don't know if that means multi-week or not, but not season-ending for DK Metcalf. Juju left with a hamstring injury almost immediately. Jordan Whittington played 4 snaps. Sorry if you started him. And Demario Douglas was in and out of the lineup. He had an illness that we didn't know about. So it's kind of a frustrating week with Douglas, with Whittington, and certainly with Deebo Samuel. But, Jamie, what are your thoughts on the...
Was there any word on what happened to Antonio Gibson?
No, he got hurt and he came back in.
He got hurt?
Yeah, he left for a spell and then came back in.
Right at the beginning. Jamie, what are your thoughts on the 49ers going forward? Dallas this week, then a bye.
I mean, obviously, when there's been a guy missing, the other 2 tend to step up, and hopefully we get McCaffrey back soon, which, doesn't seem to happen until after their bye. But look, this was going to be a bad matchup for Jordan Mason, and it played out that way. You hope that Debo's going to be fine. You know, the illness notwithstanding, that is going to keep him out long term. And Kittle should, get back to being George Kittle again. They're going to be facing, I'm guessing, still a banged up Dallas defense. I don't know what Micah Parsons' status is going to be, but no DeMarcus Lawrence. So it should be a bounce back game for those guys, assuming everybody's healthy.
It kind of stunk for Mason. He played a ton. He had all of their short yardage goal line snaps. He didn't score. I thought he looked really tentative in the first half, and that was something that I was very concerned about coming into the game. But he looked a lot better in the second half. It seemed like he kind of got yelled at maybe and said, "You're a running back, dang it, go out there and run over people." And he did, and he looked better in the second half. But now he's got this game against Dallas and then a bye, and then is Christian McCaffrey back? And if that happens, then where does Mason go?
He also kind of it was a bad matchup and a bad game, but Brock Purdy had 2 1-yard touchdown runs.
Right. But
it's not like they didn't give Mason opportunities first.
Yes. And then when it's again, just those are 2 opportunities that you would think Mason would get anyway. Why risk the injury to your quarterback? And maybe it's in their mind that they don't want Mason to get hurt again on those types of short yardage car crash plays. So he's one of my losers for the week, Adam.
Well, do we all think that Deebo Samuel is going to be a stud moving forward?
It's very possible. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think, Jawan Jennings is expected back next week. So
yep, he's back in play.
At least it's possible.
In play.
Yeah.
Jawan Jennings is going to be pretty enticing on the waiver wire, though, to be honest with you.
Jennings will be one of the guys you look to pick up. I think you're going to take a speculative ad on Pearsall just to see if he can become anything. The deeper leagues, as we always talk about on Tuesday, cowing also, just to see if you're stuck.
He made a big play.
I mean, look, it should be a big opportunity moving forward for Kittle and for Debo.
Yeah, one of the guys we need to watch the film of this game to see how open Pearsall got throughout the game. Because if he's getting open, that the coverage isn't going to be tight on him.
There were a couple of times where Brady made reference to no separation.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Do you guys
that was about Pearsall, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So if that's the case, then I don't want to pick him up at all.
You guys know the interrupting cow knock knock joke?
Yes.
Yeah. How about Team Name Tuesday interrupting cowing? Right? It's great.
Oh gosh.
Do you know the joke, Jamie?
How about Quiet Adam?
Do you know it? Knock knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cow. Oh, Jamie, it's jerk. All right, news and notes. So as I mentioned, Drew Lock replaced Daniel Jones, but they're going back to Jones. Carolina, they're sticking with Dalton. Tyler Huntley left in the third quarter. We're hoping that Tua comes back next week against Arizona. David Montgomery and Tony Pollard gave us an old fooled you, and they came back. They left early in the game.
Yeah, scared you, not a fooled you?
Yeah, scared you.
Yeah, those are scares, not fooled.
And then I didn't really we already talked about the big wide receiver news and tight end. I didn't really see any tight end news. Offensive line, Philadelphia already without their left tackle. Right guard, Mekhi Becton has a concussion. They're at Cincinnati next week. Cincinnati, in the meantime, they lost Orlando Brown Jr., their left tackle, to a knee injury. And that's what I think concerns me a little bit because we've seen them struggle with pressure the last couple of weeks with the Giants and the Browns. Geno Stone. Oh, sorry. I'll give you more Bengals news later. Cam Robinson, left tackle and I don't know the severity, by the way, of these injuries. Cam Robinson for the Jaguars, concussion. New England offensive lineman Layden Robinson, ankle. Atlanta lost an offensive lineman, Matthew Bergeron.
Lost 2 in the game.
Yeah, but you said the other one came back. Okay, so thank you. That was.
But I think that's a huge reason why Cousins really turned into a pumpkin today.
Tennessee lost offensive lineman Jalen Duncan, who was a replacement for an already injured lineman. The Giants, bad news for them. Well, they stink, but also Brian Burns left in the third quarter, and cornerback Cordell Flatt left in the first half. Safety Geno Stone for the Bengals left. Green Bay linebacker Quay Walker was evaluated for concussion. Tennessee lost another defensive player, and Kobe Durant for the Rams. He left with an injury. And by the way, the Texans almost won that game with C.J. Stroud throwing for, 86 yards or something, and they were missing half of their defensive starters, which isn't really possible because you start 11. But they were missing 5 or 6. They were missing 5.5 players on defense, and they almost won.